Hello one and all, welcome back to yet another movie review, and this time I shall be reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which came out in 2024. It once again stars the real car, Ben Schwartz, Idris Elba, who new starred in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as Knuckles, and of course you have Jim Carrey reprising his role as Dr. Robotnik, but also playing another Robotnik, Jared Robotnik. And the big new cast member you have is Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow the Hedgehog. And so guys, since this movie was out last year, I am in fact going to just go into spoilers anyway, since I couldn't see this movie last year until recently. So if you guys haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog 3, go watch it first, then come back, unless you don't care. Welcome anyways. So I, myself, have really enjoyed both of the previous Sonic movies. I've enjoyed them quite equally, in fact. I mean, the first film I just thought was a nice breath of fresh air for video games, especially now that they fixed Sonic's design. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was I thought was slightly better, even though I can argue it's probably equally as good because it brought in Tails and Knuckles. And so in that post mid-credit scene of that film, we saw Shadow the Hedgehog in that mid-credit scene. And so here we are, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I'm going to say it right now, I love Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's easily the best of the trilogy. And this is definitely one of the best third installments I've seen in a while. This movie's still not perfect like the other two movies are. I mean, no movie ever is. And we'll get to the minor cons in a bit. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails to battle Shadow, a mysterious new enemy with powers unlike anything they've faced before. With their abilities outmatched in every way, they seek out an unlikely alliance to stop Shadow and the protect the planet and protect the planet. And so, basically, Team Sonic basically just coming together, particularly in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where Knuckles was just starting to become friends with Sonic and Tails. And here we have pretty much Team Sonic pretty much coming together in this film, I think anyway. And then of course in the film they meet Shadow the Hedgehog, who is excellently voiced by Keanu Reeves. I mean, thinking about Shadow the Hedgehog in general in the Sonic sort of game series, he's probably my favourite character. And I haven't played many Sonic games myself, but I think Shadow the Hedgehog, the game itself, was one of the only few games I've played. I don't remember completing it. But it was like the first time we got to hear Jason Griffith's voicing not only Sonic and Shadow, of course. Yeah, it wasn't Sonic 06, it was in fact Shadow the Hedgehog, where we first got to hear Jason Griffith voice in the character of Sonic and Shadow. But here Keanu Reeves, I think, owns the role, the voice as Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, definitely fits the voice very nicely. Definitely, he is pretty much like Sonic in some way, Shadow, only just seems more of a cooler character, I think, anyway. And I think he's probably the best character in the whole series, plus his backstory as well with Maria. You know, if you've seen that throughout the games, it is pretty much captured well in the movie, I think, anyway. You know, the relationship between Shadow and Maria is truly brought down to earth, I think. And, you know, from Tokyo to London, I think they travel the action pretty well. The action is so good. I mean, definitely as good as the previous two movies with their action. And then you also have Christian Rudder, who from Marvel was Jessica Jones, and director Rockwell, she plays as. And we'll go into Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey is probably the reason why many people go see the Sonic movies. And yep, he's playing two Robotniks pretty much. You know, plays, of course, Dr. Ivo Robotnik, but also plays Dr. Jared Robotnik. You know, so pretty much them and Shadow are pretty much teaming up, technically, until later on the film. Shadow is kind of somewhat helping Sonic, and of course they come Super Sonic and Super Shadow, and hearing the Live and Learn song just really put so much joy in. And this is definitely you know, there's definitely less jokes in this one in the previous two movies that you may not be too much of a fan of. But honestly, I think they, you know, distanced the jokes, I think anyway. Definitely a lot better jokes this time around than the previous two movies, I thought. And so, and going to my problems, guys, sometimes the dialogue isn't the greatest, and then sometimes whenever there's human elements of the movie, a bit like in the previous two movies, unfortunately it's still there, and it kind of does drag a little bit. But really, they're sort of my only cons with Sonic the Hedgehog 3. But oh no, guys, this is by far the best of the trilogy, I think anyway. And yes, we do get a bit of a mid-credit scene. Again, spoilers in case you haven't seen it. We get a mid-credit scene where we see Metal Sonic, in fact. You know, a bunch of Metal Sonics. And then we see Amy Rose as well. So it turns out we're going to get more Sonic movies, you know. As long as Jeff Fowler, if that's how you pronounce his name, directs all three of the movies, is back directing, then I'm all for it. You know. But I don't know how they're going to come across as good as Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because I thought they just handled it pretty well, especially with the induction of Shadow the Hedgehog. But overall, guys, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 I just thought was great. I mean, voice acting is still great. Ben Schwartz, of course, voicing Sonic is great. Idris Elba voicing Knuckles is great as well. More importantly, Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow. And of course, more importantly, Jim Carrey playing both Robotniks. You know, just still owns the role, I think anyway. And wish we got to see more Jim Carrey movies. Due to reports saying that he's retiring. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he probably is. But all in all, guys, this is definitely a fun time. Was very late to this review. I recently watched it for the first time, which is why I'm reviewing it now. But all in all, I'm going to give Sonic the Hedgehog 3 an A-. There you go, guys. That is my review on Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 amongst video game movies in general, because we're getting some more good ones, I think. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is definitely among the best. This and the Mario movie, I think, are probably the two best. But let me know below in the comments. And as always, if you're new to my channel, I'm a movie reviewer who lives in the UK that likes to do movie reviews, just a bit of everything movie reviews anyway. But as always, if you're new, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, notify that bell before you leave. All my social media links are in the description below. But if you're a returner, welcome back, and hope you're enjoying my content so far. And as always, until my next video, I shall see you then, and chaos control.